Well, we're back again with yet another No Fluff analysis, and this time we're going to be talking about the latest Gala Dragalia remix, which started yesterday on the 12th of March, and it'll be finishing on the 15th of March UTC. Let's cut the fluff and get straight to it with the first adventurer, the 5-star light, close-range Manacaster, Eirene, the rational android. Eirene's slightly unique. Her first ability is Mana Supercapacitors. Eirene has an armament gauge, holding up to 2 charges that charge at 10% a second. These are used to fire off Eirene's skills instead of charging SP for skills in the standard fashion. Eirene's first skill is Armed 17, Scramble, dealing 1629% damage over 9 hits and inflicts Splash Burn. This is shareable for 4 skill share points. Eirene's second skill is Armed 99, Overclock, which activates the Overclocked buff for 15 seconds, boosting her standard attack damage and granting her 15% Flash Burned Punisher for the duration. Eirene has the standard Manacaster Gauge Accelerator co-ability, and her Chain co-ability grants light units a shield for 50% of their hit points when their hit points drop below 40%. Eirene also has Poison Resist, and her final ability is Emergency Battery Unit. When Eirene drops to 30% hit points or lower, it consumes the entire armament gauge to restore hit points to Eirene, healing more based on the amount of gauge consumed. This has a 90-second cooldown between activations. So overall, Eirene has a fairly basic kit, but with the immense amount of standard attack damage that close-range Manacasters put out, a 1.6k mod S1 isn't too bad either. However, it's essentially cooldown based, so you don't get extra casts of S1 for playing extra aggressively. Her S2 buff is also decent, but it also gets removed by Lilith in the newest Sinister Dominion fight. Outside of that fight, Eirene should be a heavy hitter capable of putting out high sustained DPS and maintaining decent flash burn uptime, alternating between her skills to maintain her buff alongside the affliction. There are some catches however, one being that the animation on her S1 is pretty long, so you'll have to be mindful of animation lock. Taking heavy hits will also incur DPS losses if it triggers the emergency battery unit ability, which could be mildly annoying if you have a healer capable of patching you up immediately on the team. She also lacks Curse Resist, which Lilith inflicts, but Hildegard's popularity should make that less of an issue. All in all, Eirene should be a decent DPS, and she's also capable of enabling Flash Burn centric teams. There are Paralysis Flash Burn dual Punisher team ideas floating around for Lilith, so Eirene could be suitable despite losing part of her kit to the Curse of Nihility. Second on the showcase is the 5-star Water X, Finni, the emotional android. Much like Eirene, Finni also has the Mana Supercapacitors buff and has the Armament Gauge, holding up to 2 charges that charge at 10% a second. And much like Eirene, these are used instead of charging SP for skills. Finni's first skill is Armed 72, Fast Break, dealing 2600% damage and dispelling a buff. This is shareable for 5 skill share points. Finni's second skill is Armed 24, Astro Burst, consuming the whole armament gauge to deal 2400% damage across 4 hits. If this skill scores 6 or more hits in the same combo, it'll increase armament gauge fill rate by 8% every second for 30 seconds. If 2 armament gauges are consumed, this will deal 3600% damage across 8 hits instead. Finni has the standard X defense co-ability, and her Chain co-ability grants water units 6% strength at 60% hit points or above. Finni also has stun resist, and her final ability is Turbo Unit. Finni gains 20% strength, 20% defense, and 15% attack rate when the armament gauge has 1 or more charges. So Finni's kit revolves around floating high energy and maintaining her buffs. Once her armament gauge fill rate buff is active, Finni should wait for her gauge to charge to level 2, firing off Armed 72 Fast Break as soon as charge 2 is ready to maximise her Turbo Unit uptime. All in all, a fairly simple kit and a spammable dispel. Finni doesn't inflict any statuses in her native kit, so she's based around raw damage. Her dispels will also allow her to slow the rate at which the twins stack their buffs, and she should also do a decent job of keeping Lilith suppressed as well. I'm a bit less sure about whether or not her armament gauge fill rate buff is safe from Lilith, but it doesn't inherently break her kit, so it shouldn't be too bad even if it does get removed. Also on rate up is Gala Xena, who's been reviewed before already, but in summary she's a decent offensive healer for most light advantage content, but she does struggle a bit in the latest Sinister Dominion fight due to her lower healing output. In summary, this banner introduces Eirene as a new close-range Manacaster, capable of pumping out standard attack damage, and Finni, who has decent mods but also the ability to spam Dispel like nothing else. They're not going to break the meta by any means, but they should maintain decent output even in the latest fight. As always, if you're weak to the allure of an android with a belly button, then you've probably already pulled. These units aren't limited by any means, and I'm still holding out hope for a Monster Hunter rerun or something special for the 2.5 anniversary at the end of the month. Otherwise, take it easy, stay safe, and I wish you luck in your upcoming pulls.